We can improve on what other people have written, and then, you know, we can make it better probably, but when you've actually got no idea and you have to sit down and think of it, that's the hard bit.
Oh, that's the gift.
That's what it's all about.
With Eddie, he thinks of things that we think are very funny, and I wish to God we could think of. But we can't.
Today, 42 years later, Eddie Braben has come out of retirement to revisit the place he met Eric and Ernie for the very first time.
When I first came here, I was very nervous, very apprehensive. I said, can I have a key, please? She said, which show? I said, Morecambe and Wise. She said, name? I said, Eddie Braben. Right, just a moment. And then, 6 months later, it was just as crowded. I came over, she spotted me, she said, morning, Eddie, here's your key. And I thought, I've made it. Now, I do remember coming here. This was the time of nervousness and not knowing what was going to happen. Bill Cotton's office. Yeah. Yeah. That's the room. Bill Cotton's desk was by the window. There were 4 men in here. 3 men with a dream, 1 man with hope. The 1 man with hope was Bill Cotton. He brought us together. I saw Eric and Ernie for the first time. And Bill Cotton's hope was that there would be a spark. A piece of television comedy history started here. And there were 4 of us. And now there's just me who can tell the story. And it's very moving.
Just had a bath.
Well, that's funny. I watched the 9 o'clock news. They never mentioned it.
As I watched them,
One of those evenings, is it?
I saw it. I saw what was missing. It was this magic between these 2 men.
You can't fool me. I've known you a long time.
So?
We grew up together.
I grew up, but what happened to you?
Yeah.
There was a greater love between these 2 men than I've seen between 2 brothers. And there was great warmth.
There's 3 meteoric rises, fellas. Into international stardom. Nobody's that old.
Surpassed only by myself.
Oh, God, and he means it as well.
And I thought, if I can capture all these traits in writing and make them funny, we might have something a bit special.
Eric Morecambe is the worst comic on the telly.
That's not right.
So he says.
You can't with the Times. You never said telly on the Times.
Don't they?
Small screen or the box.
It says telly in this. Telly in this because it's a special edition.
I would say this, as a writer, I don't think you can underestimate Eddie Braben's role in drawing out those 2 characters and creating a comic persona for them.
Eddie Morecambe is the worst comic on the telly. He's rotten.
They adored Eddie Braben.
What do you say?
Eric and Ernie used to say to me that God is the best thing apart from yourself to come out of Liverpool.
He's not going to sell much ice cream going at that speed, is he?
We sort of felt that we knew them because we'd seen them at home in their flat. We'd seen them in bed together.
Red tint in the sky.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lovely day tomorrow.
Yes, for some, but not for you.
Why not for me?
That red tint in the sky.
Yeah?
The bank's on fire.
I think that's part of the reason why they became so incredibly loved. And that was one of the major elements that Eddie Braben brought in.
Now, about my play.
This is the most memorable brandy. I wish I could say the same about your work as a playwright.
It was a brilliant idea that Ernie was a frustrated playwright, full of self-importance about the great works he was creating.
As a matter of fact, this play is the finest drama what I have ever wrote.
The idea of making Ernie the egotistical writer was based unknowingly on me.
The finest drama what you have ever wrote?
That line, actually, the play what I wrote, I hesitated over that.
In my opinion, this boy here, in a few years' time, could be another Ernest Hemisphere.
He's shooting himself in the foot every time he says it, so I kept it in. And the way it caught on was quite astonishing.
Oh, a piece of butter!
Eddie gave them a whole new dimension to the kind of comedy that they did.
What did I get it for? You got it? It says here in brackets, for services to literature. She's given it to me for those plays what I wrote. What else?
And created some of the greatest television we've ever seen in this country.
So, Morecambe and Wise have this wonderfully polished double act. They have this brilliant writer who understands them, gets their relationship, uses it as part of the comedy. They're on the BBC, they're in colour. It's their golden age. Sit back and enjoy it.
Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny, but we'll travel along, singing a song side by.
My favourite Morecambe and Wise sketch was the one where they're on the stools, and the stool that he's on goes much higher than the other ones, and then they start going up and down a bit like the trumpets. You know, when you get that on the trumpet. That's it. You know, you don't get props so much like that anymore. Altering the heights of what you're sitting on has always amused me.
Oh, there's loads that sticks in my head. There's one, Life is a Cabaret. Ernie with his fixed grin was always very funny. I still now get absolutely hysterical at Eric playing the trombone. And particularly when he turns round and does, all he does is that with his arm. And I watch it now and I go, why is that funny? I haven't done it very well. He does it better. Watch the tape.
The stripper sketch is probably one of the most famous.
It makes a very ordinary, everyday situation into an extremely tightly choreographed, formal event.
The kitchen routine, he always used to get slightly upset if he watched that because he says, I come in too soon mixing the eggs.
And there was always more of this comedy gold, and part of this success was their twist on celebrity guest appearances. The whole nation couldn't wait to see who they'd book next.
So I
We were always amazed at the way John was able to get really big name stars. He'll say, I'll give Lonston of his agents a ring. Oh, yes, sure, you will, yeah. And he'd get them, you know. How does he do it? And he said, I think he's got some photographs stashed away somewhere.
It's just that he's not too happy about it. Oh, do that again. You don't say that when I do it.
As they got more popular, it became easier and easier to get the guests. Once I say Morecambe and Wise, I've got the agent interested.
No, I've seen most of your programmes, and I know that you always treat your guests with the utmost courtesy and respect.
This boy's just a fool.
They were the first people to take famous individuals from other walks of life and kind of mash them up, sometimes literally, and take the living rip out of them.
Whoa, you play as simple and musical.
And they were all such good sports, you know, that they knew that they wouldn't be ridiculed. They would be set up, it would be funny.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance,
let's face the music and dance.
One of the genius things that they did, you know, is put people into situations that you've never seen them before. You don't see Angela Rippon dancing about. She's a newscaster. You know, it was extraordinary to see these things.
We see a lot of people out of their comfort zone doing other shows at the moment, but in them days it was unbelievable. The equivalent now would be to see the Queen on X Factor.